Sunset on a catamaran under the Golden Gate? Yes, please. Masterpieces at the Legion of Honor? Absolutely. And a Michelin-Star dinner at O by Claude Le Tohic. This is San Francisco, and we can't wait to share it with you. The entry courtyard to the Legion of Honor is just a sample of what's to come. Rodin's The Thinker commands your attention right off the bat. It was initially inspired by Dante's work, but Rodin later separated the figure and exhibited it independently, renaming it The Thinker. It's now a symbol of contemplation and creative thought, and it was gifted to the museum in 1924 and is a core part of the museum's extensive Rodin collection. We started our journey on the lower level, which houses the antiquities, the cafe, the porcelain gallery, and a collection of graphic arts on paper, which is the largest in the Western U.S. with over 90,000 items. And it also houses the special art exhibition, which for our visit is Wayne Thiebaud. The exhibition, Art Comes from Art, pairs Thiebaud's vibrant works of cakes and cityscapes. He reimagined masterpieces by Diego Velázquez and Degas with a playful modern twist and a focus on surface and texture. Located on the main floor right after you buy tickets is The Age of Bronze by Rodin. It's interesting to note that this was his breakthrough sculpture and caused quite a scandal. Critics claim that he must have cast it directly from a live model, but he insisted that he did it the old-fashioned way, sculpting by eye and hand. I'd like to add here that the Legion of Honor is a neoclassical gem inspired by its Parisian namesake, and it opened in 1924 as a memorial to California's soldiers lost in World War I. The displays at the museum's collection span an impressive 6,000 years of ancient and European art. The Calling of St. Peter by Matthias Stamm was created in 1633 and inspired by Caravaggio. Walking into the Rodin Gallery, I was immediately struck by the natural light and the realism of his pieces. I could almost hear them breathe. And one of my favorite ones was Rodin's portrait of Henry Rochefort, I hope I said that right, who is a fiery French journalist. And the way that Rodin captured him, you can really feel the soul of the subject. And let me just add here, this may be Rodin's gallery, but his works are sprinkled throughout the museum like icing on a cake. Phoenix and I love museums, and I started taking her to them at a really early age. For me, art has always been something that I've appreciated, but really I used to breeze through the exhibits, soaking up the atmosphere more than the work. And I was really more excited just to move on to the next thing than really seeing what was in front of me. But Phoenix, she reads every card, visits every room, and sees every detail. Being with her has taught me to slow down and linger in the moment. And because of her and our travels, I've learned to appreciate life and art in a whole new way. And maybe travel is like an art gallery. It's not just about checking all the places you've been and rushing off to the next one. It's about learning to be present where you're at, to soak in all you can and experience the moment. And I'm so thankful to be able to have learned that from Phoenix and to be able to share it with you. So thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Let's dig back into some more history and art. Earlier, you may remember that a Mrs. Spreckles donated the Rodin in the courtyard. Well, she did a lot more than that. She and her husband donated the entire Legion of Honor to the city of San Francisco. And it was dedicated to the memory of 3,600 California soldiers who lost their lives in World War I. In fact, it opened to the public on Armistice Day in 1924, just 6 years after the end of World War I. Now this is about to get heavy, so let's go back in time, long before the galleries and Rodin sculptures. This land was originally the Golden Gate Cemetery, which was active from 1870 to 1909, and it held nearly 29,000 burials, including a Chinese burial ground and a potter's field. The cemeteries were decommissioned around the 1940s, and the remains moved to another cemetery in Colma. Or were they? When the museum underwent major renovations in the 1990s, over 700 bodies were unearthed. While reading the San Francisco History website, which I'll include a link in the description, it read, in the summer of 1993, during renovation and expansion of the California Palace of the Legion of Honor, about 300 corpses from the Gold Rush era were unearthed. 2 of them still clutching rosaries, others wearing dentures and levis. This appeared to be an old pauper's graveyard, and some experts say that another 11,000 bodies might still lie underneath the museum grounds. Local archaeologist Paula Frazier, who worked on the excavation, called the experience chilling and said it was one of the spookiest jobs she has ever worked on. In fact, when the Legion of Honor was built from 1920 to 1924, the original contractors plowed through burial sites and plumbers laid pipes right through bodies and skeletons. This is a very real reminder of what the museum sits on, and that beauty is often intertwined with sadness. Now back to Mrs. Spreckels. In 1915, Alma de Bretteville Spreckels was inspired by the French pavilion at the Panama Pacific Exposition, and she made it her mission to bring art and culture to the West Coast. And here we are again, reminded that sadness often comes with beauty. The California Palace of the Legion of Honor isn't just a museum, it's a love letter wrapped in marble and memory. Alma de Bretteville Spreckels was one of San Francisco's most colorful figures. She was born to Danish immigrants and she was raised in poverty. She worked as an artist's model and posed for the Victory statue on top of San Francisco's Dewey Monument. And eventually, she married Adolph Spreckels, and he was heir to the Spreckels sugar fortune. Alma pitched a dream to her husband, a permanent museum in San Francisco modeled by the one she so loved at the exposition, on a bluff overlooking the Pacific. He agreed, and in doing so, the Legion of Honor was born, and she permanently changed San Francisco's cultural landscape. This is a reminder that art, ambition, marrying well, and a little obsession can make a change for the better. And let me add here that I never thought in my life that I would see Water Lilies by Monet in person, but we were lucky enough to see it on display, and what a strange feeling to see such beauty and also know that loss is a part of this place. Oh, there's one big boy right there. Hey, bud.
Anyone else like raise sale?
Come on, we need some help raising this sale. You guys can help. Come on, guys.
Can I stand right here? Will I be in the way if I'm right here?
Come on, okay. Get over here.
Where are we going to put
Owen, there you go. Coming in? Owen, come on in the way. Come help raise the sale. Yeah. All right, here you go. If you need, keep your balance. There you go.
No, we're good.
Tap him in the face. Watch your elbow.
I'll look at this cat.
Whoa! Whoa! Okay, we're gonna take a break. All right, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, oh! Right. 1, 2, 3, oh! 1, 2, 3, oh! There you go.
We booked our Sunset Catamaran tour with Adventure Cat, and I'll include a link in the description. There's going to be so many links. And it was an amazing experience, and I really think I overused that word, but I feel like it's never enough when you're traveling. It turned out to be a foggy day, but man, was it magical. Before we even boarded, we got to see the famous sea lions again, and here's one thing I learned: they chuff, just like their furry counterparts. And it was so cool to hear. And a fun fact, it's used for communication such as greetings or to express curiosity. The Adventure Cat crew was fantastic. Notice I did not use the word amazing, and I'm pretty proud of that, although it would track here. They were great with the kids, and the captain was extremely knowledgeable and a pleasure to talk to. Let's talk about the Golden Gate National Recreation Area, since we're out here in the Bay. It's one of the largest urban national parks in the world. It stretches over 80,000 acres and even includes Alcatraz Island. This isn't just nature, it's military forts, Cold War missile sites, and indigenous history that goes back thousands of years. And that fog, it's not just dramatic, it's science. It happens when the cool Pacific air meets the hotter inland temperatures. The contrast pulls the moist air through the narrow opening at the Golden Gate, especially during the summer, and the locals call it Carl the Fog. Yes, the fog has a name and even its own social media account. And to be fair, Carl the Fog, which is spelled, in case you would like to look up the social media account, Karl, probably has a few more followers than me. So if you've liked what's in this video, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Back to some facts. The San Francisco Bay is the largest estuary on the West Coast. It connects the Sacramento and the San Joaquin rivers to the Pacific Ocean, creating this incredible blend of salt and fresh water that supports more than 500 species of fish and wildlife. It's been called one of the most important ecological zones in North America. And it's interesting to note that the bay isn't that deep. On an average, it's only 12 to 15 feet deep, except for the dredged shipping channels. And those shallow depths make the tides tricky. With magnified tidal currents and shallow water effects, navigation is tough. This was our very first experience having a Michelin-Star dinner, and wow, it did not disappoint. We dined at O by Claude Le Tohic, which is perched atop the 165 building in San Francisco. The whole meal was designed to unfold slowly and luxuriously. I chose the 5-course tasting menu with wine pairings, and Phoenix went all in with the 9-course grand tasting. Every dish was a work of art. Delicate flavors, bold technique, and seasonal California ingredients elevated with a classic French flair. Every bite was filled with flavor, and I'm going to add right here, my taste buds were throwing an entire celebration. The wine pairings were 5-star, and the sommelier was incredibly knowledgeable, and she paired each course with precision. And it's interesting to note that these are not your average wines that you can find at your local wine store. These wines come from a meticulously curated global cellar with over 1,100 selections and around 5,300 bottles in inventory. There is even a house brand exclusive to 165. Chef Claude Le Tohic trained under Joel Robuchon and brought 3 Michelin stars to Vegas before opening this intimate space in 2019. By 2021, O had earned its own Michelin star and has kept it since. And after our dining experience, I can definitely understand why.
Selection of milliardies. Everything is made on the first floor with the bakery chim. On the top, it's a selection of the pastry, which is more focused on the fruit. You have strawberries, forest, cherry, double chocolate, mango, banana, pistachio, cocoa. Over here, it's white chocolate with inside a smooth biscuit. It's called rocher. A selection of macaron. This is a special signature of the home because it's all by Claude. So you will find the Oreo, the O for smiling. Here's banana bread, some dragée with pistachio, blueberry, grape, and as well some nougat.
Thank you so much for joining us on this adventure. Make sure to subscribe to see where we end up next.